Mr. Todd Howard, Mr. Jonathan Nolan. They did an interview with IGN. Why am I talking like Snagglepuss to open this video, man? Ladies and gentlemen, Fallout 5, we're going to talk a little bit about it today. Starfield, we're going to talk a little bit about it today. Even the Fallout TV show, we're going to talk a lot about that because this interview really centers around some of the story decisions for the Fallout TV show. What's the future of the Fallout franchise? We're going to get into all of that. Just on a separate note, a little self-plug here. Retro Rewind is storming on. Thank you so much for your support there. We're about to hit 10K subscribers. We just posted our first time viewing of Pulp Fiction. Yeah, if you ever doubt my gamer cred, just know I've only just seen Pulp Fiction for the first time this week because I was too busy playing real gamer games. I digress. You can check that out. Link in the description down below. I would appreciate you checking it out, subscribing while you're there. We're having so much fun over there. It's been an absolute blast, and I would love for you to be a part of it. All right, enough of the self-plugging. Let's get into the Fallout stuff you're here for today. Starting off with Fallout 5. So after the major popularity spike that the TV show brought the Fallout franchise, as if this wasn't already a relevant topic in the first place, but more people are keenly aware of it now, how much they love Fallout and how great it would be for a new entry to be out right now or soon. The question is, when's Fallout 5 happening? Now, we already know, thanks to a separate interview with IGN years ago, that Todd Howard does have this Fallout 5 one-pager. They know, generally speaking, what they want to do with that video game. Okay, great. Well, we have Elder Scrolls 6 first, which naturally has to get out because Elder Scrolls 6 has been long overdue. And that's a game that I worry about just being set up for failure due to how long it's been since Skyrim, which is a all-time classic. Personal concern aside, though, you look at the Fallout franchise, and after 76, even though it's found its legs a bit here, I think that it's time for a new entry, whether that be a remaster or a spin-off or a mainline entry. I think it is time for a series this popular after 6 years to get something new in the gaming space, might I add. I know we have the TV show, but you understand what I'm saying. So this interviewer asked a great question. Hey, Todd, you know, show's doing great. Does this change the timeline between Elder Scrolls 6 and Fallout 5? Here's what he had to say.
I'm going to avoid putting dates on anything. I've learned that the hard way. So obviously, you know, our focus as far as new development right now is Elder Scrolls 6, but that doesn't mean that we're not making plans for other things. We're still doing a lot of work, obviously, on Fallout 76. And we see the community, so many people going into that game and kind of rediscovering it, and just so happy with where that game is at. And it really does. And I mean, this has one of the best communities in all of gaming. Like, surprisingly, it's like a very, very nice apocalypse.
I have to say, I think it's a great call that Todd isn't going to put a date on anything. I understand why they did the timeline with Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6 after Fallout 76's announcement, because they knew right then and there, hey, this is going to be something people might give us a lot of blowback for, so let's confirm to them that it's not just the near future, but the far future, that we're going to be doing our traditional single-player stuff, and we just want to dabble around in this online thing. Naturally, we've come to learn that this was through an era of Bethesda, that they were trying to pump up their value to then sell off, so they went all in on live services. We saw across Redfall, we saw it with Wolfenstein Youngblood, we saw it 76, and just how catastrophic that was for the entire company. Still though, timelines, I don't mind them being avoided, but we all understand here now that after the Fallout TV show, the demand for something new is higher than ever, whether it be a remaster or a spin-off. Something's got to give, right? It's time. And I think a remaster is the most likely answer. It can happen the quickest. I think it's a good stopgap. I think people want that. They miss the old thing. I know Xbox has back compat, so it's a little weird, but PlayStation doesn't really have that option. It'd be cool to get these games on Switch as well. A couple of quality life enhancements, maybe like sprinting, aim down sights, call it a day. Of course, any other changes, more than welcome. Maybe console mods, but that's a dream. That's a little too big, I think. But there's a couple of things that I think they could do there to improve the experience without dramatically remaking it, bringing it forward, and re-releasing it. So I feel like that's the lightest work they can do. The biggest work is a partnership, having someone else make a Fallout game. But seeing here that Todd mentioned, hey, focus is on Elder Scrolls 6. We're not doing other things, which to me suggests that they're looking at other partnerships. Maybe the success of the Fallout TV show opened the eyes of everyone involved, like, oh wow, this is a pretty big deal, huh? Because here's the thing, is that it's not just Bethesda anymore. They're owned by Xbox, they're owned by Big Daddy Microsoft, and they want their check. And if they see how great Fallout is doing, I mean, this could be a mascot for Xbox, truly. Like, I've always said that when you look at the front of the next console box, I think that front and center is going to be Elder Scrolls and Fallout. Yeah, I'm biased, I love these games, but they're undeniably massive. And when you own those games and you're not making the most out of them, of course, Halo's more synonymous with Xbox, but when you're, as Xbox, not making the most out of that, you're failing as a business owner, because this is money you're missing out on. And so I think there's got to be an answer somewhere, especially with all that talent in-house. I've talked about that endlessly, but what I haven't really said is how I think it might be great if Bethesda just hones in their focus. Todd Howard, I still infinitely believe in his talent, but he's spread thin, right? You look at what happened with Starfield, Fallout TV show, and how Indiana Jones is shaping up. I don't want to get too ahead of Indiana Jones, putting the cart before the horse, but that game's looking fantastic in my personal opinion. You look at the Fallout TV show, it came out pretty well. Starfield, I think you can look at them in this sort of trio right now and wonder if that's the one that lacked the most focus, the most fine-tuning from Todd, potentially. Some of the oversights and the design decisions, just something was off. So while some people interpret that as like Starfield copium or defense, I'm more so saying that it might not be the worst thing in the world for other things to get taxed because, you know, Todd decided to focus in on one thing. And I mean, Elder Scrolls is Bethesda's baby. You got to give that all the attention it deserves, especially after all this time. You can't afford to do a half-assed job. Speaking of Starfield, though, Todd mentioned here they're doing a lot of work getting, quote, really good updates that are going to be announced soon, end quote. Starfield gets updates every 6 weeks or so, so I imagine by the end of this month we'll hear something there. It's a video I really wanted to make this week, but with so much Fallout news and the fallout literally from the ending of the TV show, my upload schedule dramatically changed, as you all have seen in real time, and so I had to delay some plans. But next week we'll probably be talking about Starfield. We'll probably be talking about Fallout 76 and doing that kind of 2024 style review, because I've been getting a lot of requests for that. But yeah, when it comes to Starfield, it is too quiet now, and it's quite literally staggering how little has been added to Starfield in the terms of new features or mechanics. I understand it'll be a snowball effect. Eventually it'll just keep rolling and it'll be really exciting, but out the gate, first 6 months with Starfield, I expected more. I definitely expected something more than being able to like eat food without opening my menu as one of the major additions to the game. It took way too long for like DLSS to get added. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous. And so I'm hoping Todd isn't just overhyping it here, and that these really good updates aren't just more quality of life enhancements, aren't just more bug fixes. It's great to have those there. I love that Starfield does have a level of polish here. But I am of the unpopular opinion. I've always said I would take a little Bethesda jank in a trade-off for more creativity, more new features, more new add-ons, all that great stuff there. But I get it. There's that AAA perfectionism out there. I get it. There's people who don't agree with that. But look, I'm Team Jank. Hate me if you will. We'll talk about Starfield extensively in another video, but we do know updates are on the way. So now let's talk about Fallout's TV show. Again, spoiler warning, if you weren't listening earlier, we're going to ruin some of the TV show. So season 2 has already been officially confirmed. We knew it was probably on the way with the California tax credit that we covered, as well as the fact that, I mean, the show's doing stupid well right now. It just had to get a green light. I think what they're going to do is probably a weekly release for Fallout season 2, just because I remember with The Boys, I had read that they released all of season 1 right in a single shot, and then now they're doing it more like weekly episodic releases to kind of build up the streaming service. There were a ton of questions here asked. We're going to kind of rapid fire some of the answers that were put up that I found very interesting. One specifically toward the end of the interview was when she had asked Jonathan Nolan about, hey, what was the plan for this show? Did you have this sort of grand master plan of what would happen next for the Fallout TV show? How does that go? And it turns out, fortunately, I mean, you could already tell by the way the show ended, there is a larger plan where eventually, as they were making it, they were asked about, for example, Ron Perlman. Like, why wasn't Ron Perlman in the show? And I agree. That was one of the little questions as a Fallout fan I had. Like, he wasn't in Fallout 4 in this usual role he was in. Like, he was the TV reporter role. Like, why wasn't he in his normal War Never Changes role? It was a little bit of a confusing change to me, but it was cool that he was in the game. And then, obviously, we see here now in the TV show, he wasn't there. And Jonathan Nolan talks about eventually you have to focus in and you can't do everything in season 1, which to me shows a level of confidence that they were going to do a season 2. Like, they knew this was going to happen before they even went ahead and greenlit it. They were like, yeah, we're going to do this. So let's just tell the story we want to tell in season 1 and leave the rest for later. And obviously you can tell with all the threads remaining, they talk about that. Like, they have a very good idea of what's there for them to build upon. And he mentioned that they've been talking extensively about what they're going to do next, and they're very, very excited about it. Personally, I am too, because once again, they have sat down to reaffirm things about the timeline. One thing Todd paused and deliberately mentioned was New Vegas, and saying what happened there did indeed happen. which I think we have hit this level of ridiculousness with appeasing a small subsect of the fan base that's gotten a little bit loud. I get the concern with the lore. I respect it, and I know those people will be a million times louder if season 2 ends up being a complete bust somehow. But looking at it, you know, we continue to reaffirm what we already knew, and that's that New Vegas is canon. Nothing is getting disrupted as of this moment in time. I word it and frame it like that, which I know sounds a touch condescending, because it's at the point now where we're getting elements of season 2 kind of spoiled for us before they've even shown or talked about anything. And I don't think that's fair, because the show was so good. Like, we should just be sitting here going, all right, y'all cook, we'll see you for season 2. He talks about the fall of Shady Sands and the destruction of it. He mentions it happened just after the events of New Vegas. That's something we had already covered. But something that I found interesting is what he said afterwards. He suggests that Shady Sands may not have been nuked, potentially also suggesting that the initial speculation of people thinking, oh, Vault Tech nuked Shady Sands, Hank McClane nuked Shady Sands, was actually incorrect. He doesn't go into it at all, but he does affirm her speculation that it may not have been a nuke at all. Obviously, we don't know what it would have been. It seems like it would have been a nuke, but you also wonder if that would have had more widespread destruction than just the area Shady Sands was in. But nonetheless, here, I take a look at something like that and think, this is great, because now we have more things to speculate on and think about and piece together when the trailers and the information starts rolling out. But at the same time, gotta keep it real here. This is information we shouldn't know, because he's practically being forced to talk about this so people can just chill the hell out. He also mentioned something about the NCR, which we already knew, but he had to say it in order for everyone to understand, like, hey, the NCR, they're bigger than just what's in this show. What he mentioned here is it's a wide-ranging organization across California and other areas. And the quote that stood out to me is, I don't think you've heard the last of the NCR, end quote. My prediction after I watched season 1 was, oh, they're going to spend season 2 just going all in on either rebuilding the NCR or a part of the NCR or uniting the NCR. Something like that is what is going to be the major focus of season 2, because you set up Maximus as this almost potential villain role if the Brotherhood of Steel continues on the path they are going on, right? They're warring over this cold fusion. We saw what it did. Brotherhood naturally wants to be the stewards of technology. Okay, got it. NCR is the one who found that, though. They were on this whole mission with Wilzig. Did people really think that Bethesda was just going to stomp out the NCR and that was going to be it? Those seem to be the remnants of Shady Sands, but it seems like to me what he's indicating are places like the Hub might still be popping off. So we'll see what happens in due time here. But again, this is a little unfortunate that we have to reaffirm things like this. But yeah, you're going to see a lot more NCR in season 2 is how I received it. One thing that Jonathan Nolan acknowledged was that the reason Moldaver was alive for so long was never actually officially documented. Like, we could assume, oh, maybe she was in Vault 31. Who knows? Was she kind of like Kellogg with the cybernetic enhancements that allowed her to live for such a long time? So what's the reason Moldaver was around? And Jonathan Nolan just kind of acknowledged that it'd be an interesting idea to explore. So again, I think if you get more NCR exposition here in season 2, I think you're going to get more of Moldaver naturally, because she was at the core of season 1 and that remnant faction of Shady Sands. But that was the long and short of it. It was a great interview with a lot more information than I expected, particularly on the TV show. But I would love for someone to dig a little bit deeper on the future of the Fallout franchise. I'm just, wondering, like, hey, look, it's popular. It's been popping. It's popping more than ever now. Sales are up. Like, as a business, how are you going to take advantage of that? We'll see if someone ever pops that question. But nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, that's everything from Fallout 5 to Starfield to the TV show. I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts down below, so please do fire away. Other than that, take excellent care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next video. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.